Good morning, my dear students. Shall we start the class now? All of you had your breakfast? Okay, students. In previous class, we were discussing about the industrial analysis and the objectives of industrial analysis, right? So, under industrial analysis, today we are going to study about Porter's 5 forces model. Now, what is this Porter's 5 forces model in an industrial analysis? The 5 forces model of Porter is an outside in business unit strategy tool that is used to make an analysis of the attractiveness of an industry structure. It captures the key elements of industry competition. Here, Michael Porter, he has come out with a 5 force model to explain how the industry is attracted by the investors and what elements have to be analyzed when you are doing the industry analysis. So, the Porter's 5 forces model is here. So, it starts with threat of new entrants, rivalry among existing competitors, threat of substitute products or services, then bargaining power of buyers and bargaining power of suppliers. So, let's see in Porter's 5 forces model how he has tried to explain us about these 5 forces in the industry analysis. Coming to the first one, threat of new entrants. New entrants means you all know, right? So, a new companies are going to come into the industry. Now, how it is a threat of new entrants? We will see. If the firm in an industry are highly profitable, the industry becomes a magnet to new entrants. So, suppose if a particular industry is making good profits, then those who are investing and those who are planning to start a new business, so that particular industry will become like a magnet, attracting the new entrants to come into the business. For example, in earlier few years, software concept only was not there, right? When the software industries like Infosys, Satyam, Wipro and all started making good profits, we can see so many new entrants were attracted to start the software business. So, that is about new entrants. We'll come to the second point now. Unless something is done to stop this, the competition in the industry will increase and average industry profitability will decline. So, something has to be done to stop this. The competition should be there to certain extent, but when more number of people enter into the same industry, the competition will increase, and what happens, the profits will start decreasing because of too many competitors. Now, we'll see the third point. Firms in an industry try to keep the number of new entrants low by erecting barriers to entry. A barrier to entry is a condition that creates a disincentive for a new firm to enter an industry. So, what they will do is, when new entrants want to come into the same industry, they will create some barriers for the new entrants to come into the business. Like, they will put some conditions. The minimum investment should be so much, and they will bring in certain rules and regulations which is going to be applied for the new entrants. In that way, they can stop the new entrants to come into the business. So, I hope the threat of new entrants you all have understood. Okay, now we'll move on to the second model of Porter. Rivalry among existing firms. Now, rivalry means what? Enmity, conflicting among the existing firms. We'll see how. In most industries, the major determinant of industry profitability is the level of competition among existing firms. So, if there is more competition, as the competition is increasing, the enmity and the rivalry also will be increasing. We will see the second point now. Sometimes some industries are fiercely competitive to the point where prices are pushed below the level of cost and industry-wide losses occur. So what happens when the competition is more? The prices are pushed below the level of cost, and what happens? The industry will start incurring huge loss. Then they themselves start quitting from the industry. So through heavy competition, you can increase the raw material prices and resources cost, where the small investors and the small companies cannot withstand the competition. So when they start incurring the heavy losses, they themselves will quit from the industry. Coming to the third point, in other industries, competition is much less intense and price competition is subdued. Here, what happens in few industries, what happens when competition is less? Then they will be trying to make more profit because there is no rivalry among the industries because the competition is less. So that is about the rivalry among the firms in an industry analysis. Now let's move on to the third point, that is pressure from substitute products. Now identifying substitute product is a matter of searching for other products that can perform the same function as the product of the industry. Now what do you mean by substitute? Like when you are not getting for that price a product, then you will start finding some other product which will fulfill your need with the same cost, right? So substitute products also is a type of competition where the industry starts searching for substitute products to perform the same function and attract the customers. Now I'll try to show you few examples for substitute products. See, here when the coffee cost is increasing, you can substitute tea instead of coffee, or you can see the Coca-Cola can be replaced with Pepsi. When you feel that fuel cost is increasing, you can replace with a bike or a cycle for that of the car. The McDonald's can be replaced with Burger King. So this is how the competition will be there in the industry. So you will come out with the same type of product which will fulfill the same need, taste and preference of the customer, but with lesser cost. So this is how the substitute product will replace the industry and will capture the industry of the customers. Coming to the next one, bargaining power of buyer. Now buyers means who? Customers. Bargaining power means how they are going to negotiate the price of the product. Now buyers has ability to influence the prices and demand higher quality. For example, airline industry. That means, see, the buyers can demand higher quality for the prices whatever they are paying. So, if you are not able to meet the customer demand, then there is some other competitor who will meet the customer demand and he is going to capture the market. Here in this slide, I have taken an airline industry for bargaining power of a buyer. Now coming to second point, trigger competition in a competitive environment. So you are going to study the pulse of the customer, what the customer need. So if you fulfill that need, then he is ready to purchase your product. Then if you maintain the quality, it is easy to maintain, or constant customers can be maintained. But if the quality comes down, again you will lose the customer. To get back the same customer, again it will be very difficult. Now see the third point. This forces airlines to bring down prices in order to compete, which gives the buyer the advantage of enjoying low prices and different promotions. So if the customer is not willing to pay and if there is some substitute product, competitor's product, then definitely you have to reduce the prices and negotiate with customer. The next one is bargaining power of suppliers. Supplier means who is a creditor, who is going to supply the raw materials for the company. Now let's see how the bargaining power of supplier is going to affect. Okay, now supplier industry is dominated by a few firms. So few firms who is going to supply, if they maintain a good quality, definitely they can capture the market. Suppliers products have a few substitutes. Again, suppliers products also have few substitutes. For example, if you are making a car, so if MRF tires prices are more and they are not able to supply for the cost what you have asked, there are plenty of other companies who come into the picture and who are ready to supply for you. So this is how suppliers products also have few substitutes. Now buyer is not an important customer to supplier. So buyer means who? Customer of the company. And but for the company, for supplier, who is the customer, who is the buyer? Industry or the company will become the buyer. So buyer now is not an important customer to supplier. Supplier's product is an important input to buyer's product. So if buyer is not ready to pay, then the supplier goes and meets some other buyers and he will supply to those buyers. Suppliers products have high switching costs, so they can keep on switching their customers. Supplier poses credible threat of forward integration. So here the supplier is going to supply the products on a credit basis, right? So he is going to give some flexibility to you. Later you can pay him, and at the same time he is going to also have threat of forward integration. Sometimes he might be integrated with, merged with some other good profit making company, and he is going to supply only for that particular company and not to you. So such things also will happen when you are not able to properly negotiate and come to a conclusion with the suppliers. Okay students, this is how the Porter's 5 forces model is applied in the industry. So the new entrants, the rivalry among existent firms, substitute products, and bargaining power of buyers and suppliers. All these 5 play a very important role and it will depict the industry profit potential. Okay, I hope you have understood. Let's meet in the next class.